one I'll stick with is like doing something every day, like literally just doing some exercise every day, whether it's 50 sit-ups or it's in the gym. Like I think if I did that, that would be a huge leap from where I usually am, and I would have to like
Mhm.
get to bed earlier. That would mean less Netflix times. Like I would have to really let go of some stuff to do that. And it feels like that would be big for me. Do you think that's could that be a 10x goal?
Well, I was just going to ask, like, what would that be? Because that's like the activity, right? Like,
Right.
what would that be serving?
Mm.
Well, I would be.
Like, what would you know what I'm saying? Like, what would that lead you towards? That would be the outcome or the.
Yeah, it would lead me toward better. I mean, of course, physical health, my mental health, and my attitude is 100% better when I'm exercising. Um, yeah, I mean, what would it lead? I don't know. What would it lead me to? Like, it would just be. I don't know how to say it, except it seems like my whole life gets better when I'm like stronger. I mean, I'm 60 years old, so I want to have stronger joints and things.
Right.
More confidence, more just focus.
Yeah, it might be.
Um,
I'm not sure.
It seems like that's your first domino, Ed.
mm,
It's not a 10x goal. It's your first domino that makes everything else better.
mm,
One of my clients one time said, when I have discipline in one area of life, it seems like discipline in the other areas of life is easier. And that's probably what you're feeling with that.
Yeah, that
I
actually.
was just gonna,
That's right.
yeah. I was going to direct that to you, Jonathan, because like with full focus, it kind of feels like what are the two types? There's habit goals,
Yeah.
and then what's the other one?
There's achievement goals and there's habit
Achievement.
goals. And what you're talking about, Ed, is like changing the way that you are in order to be able to accomplish something else. So you're resetting your normal in order to accomplish other things that you have as aspirations. So that may be like the underlying like vehicle to accomplishing the other things that you want. The 10x is the things that you will get from working out every day.
Right, and I would say one of those is I'm trying to write a book, and yeah, I think it would make sense if like you're saying, if I am having more mastery and being able to have that discipline, maybe that would help me to just write for, I wrote for 10 minutes a day, right? Huh.
That's I like that though, because like the working out thing, that's a really easy sort of example to use, right? Because you can tell if you are working out or not. And you know, but like so in my own life, the times that I've worked out consistently have only been when I had a reason to do it. Like I was going to run a half marathon, or I was playing sports in school, and I want to like make varsity and whatever, so they're like a focus thing. The biggest one more recently in life was I wanted to play competitive golf, and I wanted to like be able to compete. I wanted to be qualify for the state amateur, and I had failed at that a couple of times. So I started working out at a gym that was like golf specific. And like my motivation was totally different. I wanted to do it. And even when I didn't want to do it, I still wanted to do it, because there was a reason beyond working out, like just getting healthy or whatever, which is kind of where I'm at now. It's like, yeah, I'd like to work out and I do occasionally, but it's nothing like it was then, and the 10X I think was becoming a golfer who can compete at a higher level, right? That was the 10X jump.
Right.
Working out served that. But what you know what I'm saying? But it had
like having stronger muscles or being able to run further. It is not my ultimate thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, what is the goal serving? Like, what's the outcome, the purpose? And I'm not saying it's bad to just like start with a discipline like that. I mean, I think that's great, right? Because that can serve you as well.
Right.
But I think what I want to get to for myself and hopefully for the group is like, for us to be able to actually identify a 10X goal, whether it's like literally 10x, or whether it's just 10x qualitatively, that's fine. The book talks about that a lot. The title is misinterpreted. It's not always quantitative 10x, but it's very much like qualitative 10x, and that's fine. But what is it? Like, let's be specific about it if we can. I think that'd be my goal for this month, maybe, is to have a specific 10x goal ready to go for the beginning of the year. It's like,
Well,
let's make it actionable.
Well, and Matt, for me, when I heard that the author set the goal to write five books in a few years, like that,
Yeah.
for me sounds really 10x, because I can't even imagine being able to do that.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that, but right, it needs to be like an impossible goal, right? Like,
Well,
the
and I thought,
impossible goals are better.
and if he did it, he's human.
Yeah, and it's like necessary for it to be an impossible goal for it to create the right amount of focus, right?
Yeah. So next week I'll be doing my annual and quarter review, Tom. So I've been doing it for years, and I've kind of been putting like a little resource folder together to structuring my outcome of the day a little differently than normal. Like usually I try to be very tactical about it and like make it to be more of a strategic plan for the next 90 days. And then obviously this time of year, it's also an annual, just kind of naturally lends itself to that. And I've been kind of putting together some resources to make it what I have guided plenty of my clients and other people before on like vision casting for their company. And I've been sort of putting together some thoughts on how I will do that for my own company. And a few of the goals that I know are included in that kind of sum up what I'm feeling with that is like, I don't want to be working by myself anymore. Like I've talked about that a little bit before here, where I want to have a team. And I think something that I also have to like acknowledge is that I want a brick and mortar office. Like I want a space to bring people to work with folks to be like HQ for what I want to accomplish. And just verbalizing that, I know what kind of cash flow is required to make that work. And that has like dramatically changed the way I think about my offerings, what I'm not going to do. Like I still got to put a lot of meat on that, a lot of meat on those bones, but just being able to articulate those two things, I want a team and I want an office, has made a pretty big shift. Instead of thinking of it as like this kind of like dream in the back of my mind and on my heart, it's like, no, actually, if I want my clients to have the transformation that they need, I probably need those things to be true.
Mm.
Right. Not to keep throwing different books at everybody, but like, have you read The Vivid Vision, or are you familiar with that concept?
Mm-mm.
It's exactly what it sounds like. The guy has his clients, like business owners usually, go through and like completely create the world they want to exist in their business, like all the way down to the furniture in the office, like what their office space looks like, what it looks like when they meet with clients or when they do, whatever it is they do. Like he has them really create the world in their minds and share it with their whole teams. And it's this whole big process. But the idea is to like create it first and then step into it.
Yeah, the book that I've been kind of like using as my standard template for a long time is The Vision Driven Leader, which is a Michael Hyatt book. It's tangent to his other work because it's meant specifically for how to create like a strategic plan or a vision for your company. And what I like about it is that he incorporates a lot of the right pieces to the pie to make an actionable vision, because he can't not think through the full focus plan and the full focus methodology. But what I have found is that sometimes if you put too much data into a vision, it actually sidetracks your dreaming. because we all know what it takes to earn X amount. We always know what the here and now is like crowding in the future that you want. And so I'll probably read this over the next couple of months, maybe the next month, because I've been looking for other resources that don't like completely throw out what I've known, but I think there's got to be some good to having stuff that's less concrete at times, at least some tools to be using the less concrete.
So John, are you saying that you're having a team and the brick and mortar, that goal is, I mean, that is motivating? I'm like, that's working for you?
Yeah. So it's kind of been something that I've been chewing on since. So I've only been doing what I'm doing now for 2 years, and not even 2. And as I've gotten clearer on the way that I want to work with clients, the value proposition that I have for them, it has just continuously come back to mind that what I was doing at that moment would have been easier with a team and with an office. And so like it's like a reality. There's the difference between current and the current reality and how my service could have been significantly better had I had those two things. Like there's a cascade of things that happen with those two. You have conference planning, you have whiteboard space, you have vision planning opportunities because of the physical location. You also have like I need to like stake out my claim where I'm at physically. It's been something that I haven't done because I'm flexible, because I'm virtual. I work in different states. I have a couple of counties that I serve, but putting an office, like putting a sign on an office says this is where I'm at. Like this is who I'm trying to serve, and choosing that area is a part of that thing. So it's like, I know that if I could get to those two things, that there's a lot of other work that has happened that is the best part of what I should be doing, instead of doinking around with other stuff that is possibly good, but I can't prove that it is. Like, like one of them is I know that I should stop worrying about my own tech stack. And Matt and Ann are probably like, hey, I hear that. But like, I have spent so much stupid time in the last 2 months working on something that I just can't figure out, that I know that if I just had someone else working on it, I could have been doing way more important things in other space.
Tech stack, what's that, guys?
So like my software. So like having a team helps me focus on content production and delivery instead of like making the technical aspect of my business work.
Got it.
Yep.
Because I have a keynote in January that I should have been working on instead.
Okay, so that's great. So that's good. So 10x goal, like have a team, brick and mortar office. Like, I don't know if 10x goals are supposed to be SMART goals. Is there like a timeline on that?
In my mind, that's kind of what I'm trying to put together next week. Like I need to like figure out, not like necessarily the possibility status of that, but like I got to put something that really puts the fire under my butt, because just like you said, like I've got to have some motivating juice that puts me into another level of production. Like I need some nitrous to that. And funny enough, one of the other things that I guess you were talking about earlier, but like one of the things that I want to do with my business is like, I haven't decided what percentage yet, but I want an X% of my profit to go towards philanthropy. And I have been acquiring like causes in my mind, and I need to put them down on paper. And so it's been because I have goals that I want to accomplish by giving and by production and by like quality of what I do. It's forcing me to backfill decisions that should have already been made. And I guess that's why I see it as a 10x goal. is that like I have to now work backwards from it. But I need to put the details together on what that 10x looks like before I start working backwards, because otherwise I'm just going to get stressed.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that resonates. That resonates with me. I mean, I think when I tend to like look longer term and start to set like longer term goals and that I get kind of out of mind, and I don't focus on the steps to get there. And I think that's why I think my goal on that spreadsheet is to, like, when the negative thoughts or the doubting thoughts come in, that I just pray for someone, and so I can get that mindset of like thinking about others just in that simple, the step right in front of me, and not still have the longer term goals, but have these shorter term goals that will get me there, like you're saying with the dominoes, of like the ones that need to be in place, so I can take the next simple one with the longer one, in mind.
See, and Matt, you and I talked about this, because that really just pops an idea into my head that, like, with our business, a certain number of clients and number of hours will yield us a certain amount of money. So I have in my head where that goal would be, but like what might actually, like your idea of backfilling that, John, is that like I actually want to have a certain amount of resources for my kids, some college stuff, like to help my kids, or to give to like a church. And so that I can see how that might change, that I'm not just like trying to make enough money, but I have a reason to make enough money.
Beyond the bills,
Yeah.
new cars.
The thing that's helped me with that specifically, guys, is that like as a dad being working from home, it's hard for me to prioritize my future kids over my present kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that if I will never feel bad about going and playing with my kids. I will never feel bad about that.
Right.
But in 20 years, if I haven't done the work that I needed to do on myself and on my business to set my kids up for success, I will feel bad about that. And so it's like I've had to think about two versions of my kids. I have to think about them today, and what do they need of me today, and what do they need of my life and my work and my effort and my energy and my love. But also, what does my 21-year-old son need from me? Which is a completely different thing that my 6-year-old son needs from me. And that has really helped me with that specifically, because I'm prioritizing my kids in 2 stages of life. That's why I work my butt off for my 21-year-old son, or for my 40-year-old son versus my 6-year-old son.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a cool way to think about it. I've never thought about it quite like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of something I was thinking of earlier, when with the whole vivid vision thing and all of that way of being cognitive. So I heard somebody else recently talking about writing your journal, like writing the journal that your future self would write about the things you've already accomplished. So making your future goals sound like past memory or accomplishment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that one too, Matt.
Have you heard that one? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that is interesting. So, man, it felt so good to qualify for the state AM, which now I can say is true, but like back then it would have been projecting that into the future before it was actually true, like that type of thing.
So is it what it would feel like? Is that
No, well, yeah. I mean, whatever your journal entry would say. But like it was so satisfying or so rewarding or so gratifying, or just like today I did this, I don't know. It doesn't matter what you say. It's just what would your future self write about what you just accomplished? The whole trick is like making your brain look at it like a memory of something that's already happened, because then it's like becomes true or something. I forget the whole explanation of why that is so effective. But
I
it
think
was like,
what it connects to is like, so when you write something in the present tense, the way that you explain it is different than something that you write in the future tense. So it connects to your motivations in a different way. It connects to your purposes in a different way than writing something in the future. So that's why people regularly, I mean, for a long time, I don't know who decided to start it, but it's like, if you write your obituary in the present tense and you write, so it's the same thing with the gap in the gain, right? So if you write your obituary today, if you died today versus an obituary that you died when you want to in the future, and what's the difference? That's what you got to work on. I think that's the kind of thing that we're like you're mentioning, Matt, because it's when you write it in the present tense, your brain processes it as a positive or a negative almost immediately. And so you got to be able to write it out and go, I need to work on that. Or you might write it out and your brain actually is like, no, it's actually not as important as you think it is.
That's interesting too.
It's like a litmus test in a way.
Right. The one that jumped to me, John, is I am having lunch with my son right now.
This one would be like, man, it was
Wherever-
it was so great having lunch with my son today. Like, we had a great time. It's actually past tense. Well, the thing I'm talking about.
Right.
It's like writing it like at the end of the day, like you had lunch with your son that day and why it was so rewarding or so good for you. And the thing I think they were getting at it with the thing I was reading is like, what was it? It was like, what like all thought is memory, that kind of thing. So it's like now you're causing your brain to act like it's accessing a memory that it's indisputable that it was true because it happened. You experienced it. Versus like, my goal is that one day I want to be this. It's like, I wish for that. I hope for that. But it's like, that can be very easy not to actually believe.
Yeah, well, that's why, in sports and stuff, it actually really works to see myself doing, to see myself, shooting the basketball and it goes through. My subconscious brain doesn't know that that's not actually
right.
happening.
Yeah.
So do you want to help me teach some kids how to shoot free throws?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, I was actually going to ask, do you do that? Do you have them visualize, Ryan?
I used to do quite a bit of that. I haven't got into that much yet because I'm a lot of the athletes, I'm still at the beginning stage, so they can't quite grasp that because they haven't seen it go through enough. Like,
you're like, visualize holding the ball.
Yeah, right. Like the basic steps.
Visualize not dribbling it off your foot.
Yes.
I'm lacing up my tennis shoes.
Exactly.
Right.
I know it's worked in golf. Yeah.
Yeah, I was exactly going to say that. Like in golf, there's a lot, like many schools of thought for golf coaching use visualization because what it does is if you can trace the ball, because golf is so long distance, if you can trace the ball up to where it's supposed to be and then back, then you can look at the swing thoughts that you need to make the ball do what you're supposed to do, what it's supposed to do. And I've thought about that with regards to coaching professionals a lot as well. It's like, if you can visualize what you want, and I like the way that James Clear says it in Atomic Habits, I'm the kind of person that does this.
Yeah.
And it's that
This
habit
totally
stacking. It's I'm the kind of person who can accomplish this on a regular basis without thinking about it. That's what I love, Ed. It's what I really love about the way that you were explaining your fitness journey, because it starts with, I'm the kind of person that works out every day. Doesn't matter what you do every day. I'm the kind of person that works out every day.
Well, and Jack Nicklaus, perhaps the best golfer ever next to Tiger Woods. He said that he won't hit a shot until he goes to the movies. That's what he calls it. Goes to the movies, which is he has to see it and he sees exactly where it's going to land and then he hits it.
Yeah. And he sees the flight of it and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I can jump in here a little bit and share about the 2x versus 10x. I think that's where my mind is right now, especially because, not everyone in the group knows. Matt and Ann know, but I just got diagnosed with a pretty serious cancer diagnosis. So I'm giving a lot of thought to what that is going to mean for the business and moving things forward. And the end of December, I'm right at the start of my 3rd year. And that's like the critical point for businesses. They say the third year is like whether you're going to make it or not. And so up to this point, I've just been pushing that 2x kind of way, working harder to create momentum. But I think I've got to flip that switch, especially with my health, and move to that 10x jump, or I don't think I'm going to make it because it's not sustainable for me to try to continue to help clients the way I have been, because I don't know from day to day how I'm going to feel. So I need it to be, more of a sustainable, recurring type of income that doesn't need my day to day. Obviously, I'm going to have to be putting in work to day, but not so much hands on by me day to day.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a part of the process of life, because things happen, right? I remember when I was in graduate school, I don't know, one woman's husband passed away. This is in my cohort. Another person broke their leg. And yet we're in graduate school, right? They're still needing to. So finding ways to continue on this path and yet give yourself grace in the midst of the struggles.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've known I needed to change my offers going into 2026. It's kind of been on my radar, but everything that's happened this year with my health just keeps making it more and more apparent that 2x and just like hustle and grind isn't going to work anymore.
Mm.
What is your business, Kendra?
Digital marketing. Yeah.
I love that you're thinking that way. I think like it'd be very easy in your situation to just like not think about it at all, just sort of like cash it in kind of. So that's cool.
Yeah, I did a lot of praying in the hospital last week for sure.
Yeah.
And I even went as far as to pray about whether or not I should make it public or keep it private. So I
Yeah.
did a post on LinkedIn today to kind of say that I'm going to share my journey and
Mm.
put it out there publicly. So I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I feel like it could help some
That's
people.
No doubt.
Because I think it would be the easiest thing to be like, okay, well, I'm done. I've known people that had done that, actually just completely closed their business down when they got a serious diagnosis. So I
Mhm.
don't want to do that. Like, it's become a huge part of me. And
Mm.
I feel like I can keep it going at least at some level. But for it to be profitable with this whole 10x versus 2x, it's the time to shift, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say it's insanely brave. I don't think I would be able to publicly announce anything. So
Yeah.
I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
No problem.
I knew someone who had cancer, and she made it, but she did just that. She wrote a blog quite often about it, and it was amazing. It was
Mhm.
very powerful.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
cool because. Oh yeah, go ahead.
it's a part of what we're talking about is like Kendra, you using your imagination to see into the future and to start praising God for your cure and for your full health, and then operating your business with that same, with the same mindset that goes along with the faith and the spiritual and the mind working together, and then the physical body will follow in line, because the spirit and the mind have the power over the body, and then the body just goes along with it. And then if you have prayer warriors alongside that are believing in faith for your full health too, then it's just like a team thing. So then maybe that's how it goes 2 to 10x in that realm, is when you add prayer warriors to your team along with the business development,
Yeah.
the practical of that. So you're building your team in different areas, not only just the business development, but also the mindset and the spiritual revival as well.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's why I've made it a point to be here, even though I'm not feeling well, because I feel like this group is good, for me in a lot of ways, business wise, spiritual wise, to
Mm-hmm.
to be surrounded by like-minded people, super important.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yep. And the feeling is mutual.
Yeah,
We're
no,
happy to
I'm
have you
very
as
glad to
well.
hear it. I know, very glad.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks for joining, Kendra. For sure.
Yeah, it's cool to me that you're like sharing with us and sharing with more broadly too, because I think like I know we all want to, and like people want to be in it with you or like support you, and it's like a lot of times just don't know how. It's like, man, that
Yeah.
it's like that
Totally.
sucks. That's terrible. We
Well-
we want love to just fix it or whatever, but it's like, how can we be in it with you to the best of
Yeah.
our ability? And I think you being open is like helps that a lot.
First step.
Sure.
Well, right, because think if like someone in a situation like that, maybe the more vulnerable, harder thing to do is to share it, right, with people. But if you don't, like you guys are saying, how are you supposed to have a team, right? So it's not that one way is the way you should, but yeah, I like
Well-
what you're saying about this.
We're not meant to do these things alone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For sure.
There's also the 10x, like in terms of like the qualitative, like we were talking about a few minutes ago, like the impact that this could have, with people who encounter you. It could be massive. Who knows?
Generation. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Well, on that topic, I got to go in a few minutes, like 10 minutes, but I was just going to share that I had a little bit of a breakthrough. I've had like some dark clouds, around me and Lumen, but thinking about the 10x in terms of like who I'm impacting kind of took me out of the thought, like Kendra just said, of like being in basketball training, from that perspective of training like 2 kids at a time or 10 kids at a time or 20 kids at a time, or what I've had a recent potential client who's an NBA player, and thinking about the impact through those players is way more than 10x in terms of the impact and the exposure and that. So I think that's starting to turn my mindset a little bit out of the kind of the fixed or the trying to put hourly numbers around the number of players and all that, and thinking more big picture about impacting high leverage leaders and players, and then letting them do the leading and as I develop them. And I think that's what Triune Reach was created for, my business. And I think it's just taken a little while for me to kind of plod through and figure some of these things out, but it's starting not that everything's getting figured out, but I think there's little glimpses of the
Yeah.
sun shining through the cloud. And so I just wanted to share that in terms of the 10x or more.
Ryan, was it, did you have to do something very different to jump up and start to work with an NBA player? Did you have to like how did that happen? Or have you worked with people at that level?
Well, this particular player, I worked with him when he was 12 years old, and now he's 22. And so there was a relationship there, and it's just kind of come around by like walking with him and his family from middle school to high school to college, and then now in the NBA. It's just kind of been a long-term relationship development, and I think the maintenance with that has kind of allowed me to see that there's possibilities there where I had kind of the imposter syndrome before. Like, I let them make the decision, like, yeah, he's really good at working with middle schoolers and high schoolers, but I don't think he's that good with professional players.
Right.
And it was like, why not? It's the same. I'm using the same principles, just modifying it to fit the situation. So yeah, I think that one just kind of hit me, and it kind of came out of the blue. The dad reached out to me. He had referred me to another high level player, but didn't refer me to his son. And so I'm like, why would he refer me to somebody else and not his son? But then a few months later, now he's coming back. And not that it's going to be a client, but I think it's starting to get my mindset thinking differently about it, about impact and higher level players, and and not getting down in the weeds of that, and still being able to do that, still making the time and prioritizing the time to work with the younger players, and not just be exclusive to the higher level players, but more of a percentage of my time and attention spent on that.
And I just asked because
That's really-
I do some sports coaching and sports psychology with some young golfers, but I thought to myself, would I even think that I could or would have something to offer a professional? And the answer is, of course, but my brain might not believe that. It's
Yep.
like,
We have to be a scratch golfer first, right?
no, well, that's and here's the and I don't mean to boast, but I'm like 2 people away from Tiger Woods. One of my best friends did some of Tiger Woods' knees. He's an orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah.
Not that I would, but I just thought there've been a lot of times where I think, well, I couldn't do that, but why not?
Why not?
I think that why not is a great way of thinking through this particular conundrum of imposter syndrome. So my first client, 21 months ago, was a buddy of mine who was younger than me. So when I was working in the university, he was one of the interns in a different department. He went off, he did some really awesome stuff. He's, single, doing some really cool stuff that only single people can do, because, he's up and around, he's doing stuff overseas, and he's back. And, he's really made a pretty big splash. He comes back to where we are geographically, starts a bookkeeping company, and has no idea what he wants to do with it, vision-wise. So my very first client, I took him to the library, and I charged way too little to break his brain. I mean, we got into it. We were there for 8 hours, and he had, a really good process. And I thought, I was like, man, there's no way this is going to be helpful to him at all. And then I basically didn't hear from him for a year. And then I was like, I've done that same innovation lab 5 or 6 times since then. And I started to come into my own a little bit more. And I made a connection with the CEO of a very affluent senior living center really close. And I kind of bumped into him by connection, and I was like, you know what, by golly, I'm gonna make a proposal, because we had coffee, and he clearly has a need, and made the connection, made the proposal, and he's thinking about it. We're having this good conversation. And the difference between Bryce, my first client, and Tyler, this guy, I mean, on paper, is astronomical. I mean, we're talking about like the bookkeeper, his company's probably doing 2 million. This senior living center is like 900 million. And like the difference between the two is very little. Like the way that my energy showed up is very little between the two different ones.
Mhm.
And what's cool about it is I just reconnected with Bryce last month. He's joining my mastermind group for 2026. And he showed me his vision that he just solidified with his team that used all the stuff that we went together with, that we worked together on 20, almost 2 years ago in the library on the whiteboards. And I'm going, oh, it actually does make a difference. And sometimes you got to have that like full circle moment to realize that the legitimacy of working with small peanuts is the same legitimacy that you have working with what you think of as really big stuff.
Mhm.
But the impact that you have is more to do with showing up legitimately in both conversations and not trying to be a different person in both in conversations with two different people.
See, and we see that in therapy all the time. We've got young people, 18-year-olds, and then heads of huge corporations come in, and those people are they need just as much help. And it doesn't. And you're right. I mean, I've experienced that in the therapy world. Where it's like,
For sure.
I would think that this person has it sewed together. Well, they don't.
I can tell you they don't.
Mhm.
I think imposter syndrome is one of the biggest reasons that people stay 2x.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. Mhm.
I love that imposter syndrome is like what being talked about right now, and then like it's part of this group. It may be the thing actually of everything that we talk about in here that is like the biggest key. Because
Well, and in the gap, I might feel like a imposter because of some ideal that I'm not meeting. If I'm in the gain, I will see how far I've come. Right.
oh yeah, without comparing yourselves to others. But so I mean, I love what you're saying, Jonathan. Like you show up the same with whoever you're at, and then with like, does there come a point where you no longer take the time for the lower level stuff? Is that the point, or is the point just that like now you're able to do the quote unquote bigger things? I don't know.
Well, I think for me, it's a little bit of both. Like I knew that Bryce, well, at the time when I sold it to Bryce, I charged him $1,000 for the day, which is like, that's such a very small contract, but to me at that time, it felt like a huge amount of money. I'd never charged anyone for anything before. So like
Right.
to me, it was just like this overwhelming amount of money. And so then like this contract that I'm working with Tyler, I mean, it's a monthly retainer of $10,000. So it's like the difference financially to me is like I needed to. So it's like I needed to hear that what I did with Bryce worked to feel a little more confident going into my conversations with Tyler.
Yeah.
Like that 2 years later after working with Bryce, and I really haven't developed him like I want to. Like 2 years later, he still hears what I said in that one day. And so it's like the worth, like he got way more value out of that singular day than I charged him for. And it builds my confidence to go and say, you know what, I can completely change my prices. Like I'm going to, like you said, Kendra, like I'm going to completely change my pricing structure for 2026. And I knew that, but sometimes it's like you needed someone to like give you the nudge that it's okay. And that's what that conversation was. And I do think that you can continue to serve people that are at the lower level of investment possibility, but with different kinds of offers. So you
Yeah.
like you can't you got to be honest with them. Like I can't give you my A work because you can't afford that in your business today. But here's what
Yeah.
like I'm trying to figure out how to build an offer that is giving, like it is endlessly giving to those folks, but it's also makes sense for my business system.
That's good. Yeah.
The pyramid, like individual, group,
Mm.
and then content.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I'm starting a podcast. That's what I got to do.
Yeah,
I already
gotta
knew
be
that.
like-
I got to vocalize it so someone else hears it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
book,
We-
podcast, whatever. That's like, yeah. We started putting this stuff on YouTube, and just like these conversations, and like our stuff, our Tuesday, some of it, and just like, wow, we had a post go over 1,000 views last week.
Mhm.
It's like,
You know,
there's just people out there looking for this stuff, and it's like,
Mhm.
they're out there looking for it.
what do we look at, Matt? Where is it? What's it called?
It's the Free Flow CEO channel. I don't know. Ann can tell you better where to find it.
Yeah, I'll put a link to it in the Slack. The video that went that did well was about I don't remember what
You were saying it.
what week it was from, but it was, the name of the video was called "Think Imagination is Just for Kids. What if it's actually your superpower?" And it was kind of a little bit like what we were talking about today with like visualization. But I'll throw the link into the mastermind Slack channel.
And John, I'm in the same spot because I started a YouTube channel with this guy in the therapy world who's kind of like a god. He's been doing this for 30 years, and I'm about to put it into a podcast. But the only way that I did it is I met him, and I just started talking to him and calling him and emailing, and he would email me back. And I thought there's no way that he would want to do this with me. And when I asked him, he's like, "I'm in." And I was like, "What? With me?" Right. And so that just showed, and it's got a chance to be really, and I've been procrastinating putting it on the podcast for 2 months now. And he's ready to go. He's like, "Ed, I'm ready to go." And I'm procrastinating.
It's like, come on, that's got to go on your goal thing then. That's got to go on there.
I know. It does.
Amen.
Shit.
Right.
Jonathan, I was gonna say, how isn't it interesting how now you're operating from memory of an actual occurrence?
Yeah.
And like how that supports what we were talking about earlier. But now I want everybody to think about, like, over this next week or whatever, like how can I hack that and get into like operating from memory for future things that haven't actually happened yet?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like, yeah.
All right. Sorry, I got to jump, but it was a great call, guys. Glad I was able to join and be with y'all.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you.
Good.
Yeah.
Ed.
See you soon.
Good stuff.
Am I right?
All right.
Yeah, so maybe we got a few minutes left here. Let's go through and just, like, if we can articulate, like, what's your action item for the week, right? Like, what can we do that'll move us that direction?
And then next week we're coming in with our 10x goal for 2026. Is that correct?
Yeah, do you think is that enough time for everybody to come up with that? Or my thought was like by the end of the month, but I mean, we can make it next week if you want.
I'll have to wait till January for it to deliver it, but because
Yeah.
I'm working on it next week.
That's
Yeah,
okay
I
if
think
like we make
it
that
might
sort
take
of
me the
month. Yeah, that's fine. But like, so for just this week, right? Like, what activity, what item, what habit, whatever, like, what do you want to put up?
I'm having coffee on Thursday with my potential employee, and
Oh, nice. Okay.
to show up well with that, and then I need to schedule time with you guys to talk about getting rid of my pain in the
Yeah.
side, thorn in the flesh. thing.
Okay. Perfect. All right.
So I'm going to take, I'm going to launch just one of the podcasts. It's going to get published, whatever it is, through Buzz. I will have one episode that is launched.
And it's going to go viral.
Yeah. I love podcasts, man. That's podcasting. It's super fun.
Start
Yeah.
remembering the day it went viral and what it feel.
Right, exactly.
I immediately just felt this pressure, like, oh,
Yeah, well, there you go.
Good. Perfect.
I think for me, that idea that I talked about, the whole dating app or whatever, I was doing some research and trying to stay positive and because it feels huge, like it's just a massive thing. So I'm doing research and getting an understanding. There's still such a need out there in the world for people to meet each other in a way that is I don't know, profound and effective, you know. So I'm just getting more research, I guess. Do more research, work on the imposter syndrome, maybe a little bit.
I know. Yeah. Like, what are you going to research? Like, be a little more specific, maybe.
Well, I've been researching, okay, what are people complaining about when it comes to dating apps? What's the issue, right? And then I'm noticing some of the businesses, some of the apps, supposedly are losing a lot of their clients because people are dropping off and they're just sick of it. And so I'm just trying to learn what the industry looks like. What is it? And just kind of trying to get an understanding of what's out there right now.
Okay, I wrote something down for you then. Tell me if this works for you, okay? Dating app research, top 3 complaints from users and why apps are losing people.
Good. Okay.
Does that work?
Yes, that's great.
You're so good, Matt. God.
You know, thanks. Let's see. We didn't get who's. He bounced off of there. Jonathan. Kendra, Ian, you're still working on mine here.
I know what I need to do, and I've been thinking about it I've already been putting it off longer than this week. So what I think I need to do is organize the rest of my month like I do for work, but with like menus that I have, food that I'm making for different functions, holidays, just getting everything done because I need to have it all done by the 25th, right? So I think if I organize that out, that would make me feel better about focusing on whatever tasks I'm doing. And I'm not thinking, oh, that's right, I need to bring an appetizer to this, I need to write a card for them. But if I have it all written down like I would on a Monday board for work, then I'd feel a lot better when I'm working.
You can use Monday.
I know. I think I want to do it on paper.
Okay.
But I did think the same thing. I was like, should I just use like a Monday board, or should I do like a ClickUp? But no, I think I'm just gonna do it on paper. So that way it doesn't feel like work. It feels like this is my life stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
All right, Matt, I think for me, it's got to be narrowing down my offers, figuring that out to move forward in 2026. And we're going to be traveling to Phoenix to a cancer center next week. So I probably won't be around next week, but that's probably going to take me longer than a week anyway. So you can just keep it on there for a minute.
Okay. Yeah. How many do you want to end up with? Like 1 or 2, 3 maybe? Like, what are you thinking?
I think I need to tier it, do multiple tiers, and end up with 3 or 4.
Yeah, cool.
I've already kind of got it laid out. I just have to finish wrapping my mind around it and pricing and exactly what's included and that kind of thing. I think one of them is just definitely going to be like a mastermind for people who want to get themselves out there on social media.
Nice.
Yeah.
Those
and
are
then,
great.
right? I know this has been a really good example of that, like what having people in a room can do. So.
Yeah. Nice. That's cool. Yeah, good deal. Well, I hope that trip goes well. We're so pulling for you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe on, are you on the Slack, Kendra?
Yeah, I'm not very good about using it, but I see the
yeah.
notifications every once in a while.
At least you see it. Okay, it's there. That's
I
good.
mean, if you ever want, please let us know when and how we could pray for you.
Okay, I'll try to remember to put an update up there if I can.
Yep. Nice. Well, I'm drawing a total blank. I don't know what to put for this week, so I'll have to think about it. Somebody else can tell me what it should be. I don't know. I can't think of something exactly. We just accomplished something that I think has been great, like the YouTube channel, and social media posting. I think that I have been the bottleneck in that, and between Anne and our VA in Africa, who's pretty awesome, I basically forced them to figure it out. I was like, you guys do it. I go and record this stuff, and then I just want it to get done. So I think that that's getting done now, which I love. So maybe it's what else in the business can I apply that same thing, that same idea?
Yeah.
What else could be processed?
And are you putting anything off? Are you procrastinating anything important?
Yeah. Probably. Nothing comes to mind though, it's nothing just jumps to mind. It's just more like, what am I retaining that I need to get on top of and be proactive about? Okay, here's the, and maybe you have ideas of this. I don't know. You can tell me if you do. But
Just I've got a list, man.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. Well, it always means more work for her. So it's just basically.
But I mean, so I think with the YouTube channel, we kind of were like, let's just do it and then see what happens. So I don't think that can't be applied to everything.
No, that's true. No, I know it may, whatever else it is may require a little bit more planning and thought. So that's the idea to name the next thing that'll help me 10x. Cause my fear, the thing at the beginning was what this business doesn't quite feel 10x scalable. And my goal literally is I do want a 10x revenue. I want to get 50 grand a month, So it's that there's some things need to be very different than what they are right now for that to happen. And yeah, I mean, it could just be a huge, massive team or whatever, but I don't think that's quite what I'm going for. I want the revenue with margin, so anyway, yeah, I'll think about the next item to systematize or automate.
That's crazy. 1.4 thousand. No. How many views was that? Or 1,000 views?
Oh, just 1,400. Yeah, not a huge
400,
number in YouTube world, but it's just big for us because we hadn't done that before.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's amazing what consistency does over stressing. So I did a keynote for an in-person keynote in September or August, and I recorded it on my phone, right? Very low quality recording, and I just cut it up in Opus Clip, started publishing it on all the accounts, and it's insane what just regularly posting will do for people to breathe through.
Yep.
Yeah, Matt, too. I want you to hold me accountable. I don't know how to do it. I've tried, but I want to get clear on what it would take to give a TED talk. I got to figure that one out.
Okay. All right.
Because I've got a couple of ideas ready to go.
Is that your 10x?
I don't know.
You start.
It will force you to be 10x if you want to get a TED talk.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's definitely a 10x whether you want it to be or not.
My sister got one in a TED, a TEDx Salt Lake City, and I've tried to figure out how she did that. So. It'll happen. What I say, Matt? I am giving a TEDx talk right now.
Yeah. Man, I really loved that giving that TEDx talk this afternoon.
And then Brown reached out and said, "Wow, I'm really impressed by your TED talk."
She did. That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
You think Brene Brown?
And she invited us, down to Houston, Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah. Have lunch with Oprah.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Nice.
All right, I think that we
All
can-
right. Good job, everybody. That was awesome.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's fun.
Thank you. Have a good week.
We'll keep at
You
it.
too, Kendra.
All right. Jonathan, we'll,
bye.
Bye bye, everybody.
I don't know. Yeah. See you guys. Jonathan, we'll find a time to chat, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. See ya.